That's awesome.
We have Natalie, here we are. We are live. Hi, I am Joyce Johnson. You're watching Y Sales Network. We're having our Wednesday webinar, the first one of this year. Just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope that you guys, I know it was COVID, but I hope that we made the best of our holiday season. One of the things I post for sure for the holidays, I said, Christmas looked different, but it felt the same. It still felt warm. I still felt loved. I still loved my family and knew where they were. And I was grateful and blessed that they were safe. So, everything sort of feels the same, but just remember, I mean, it looks different, but remember, it really feels the same in your heart. So just focus on the heart right now. And I'm going to introduce you to someone in a minute that's going to do a heart note for us, and we'll tell you more about that. But again, I am Joyce Johnson. This is our once a month Wednesday night webinar series for Y Sales Network. Our topic tonight is 2020, the new sales era. So my co-host for this evening is Miss Natalie, a good friend of mine from, do I say across, no, across the pond, that'd be Europe, across up north, a friend of mine from up north, Natalie from Canada. Introduce yourself to our audience.
So it's a pleasure, Joyce. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very, very excited about the new sales era. I'm excited about 2021 as well. So my name is Natalie Plamondon-Thomas. I'm with the Think Yourself Academy. I'm a confidence expert. So I work with people who want to find confidence and clarity so that they can unlock their full potential. Because, sometimes we know what we should be doing, but we're just not doing it because our mindset is not maybe in the game. And I teach people how to tap into the full potential of their brain, the most powerful, complex structure in the universe. So, and I help entrepreneurs to make money living from their passion, because very often a lot of entrepreneurs are building their dream on the side. And a lot of people, employees or in their work situation, too many people don't like their job, but they have that dream on the back burner.
Yes.
And they don't have the guts to go and do it. So that's what I do, is I help people really unlock their full potential and love their life and love their job and love their career.
And you know what? I tell people sometimes, Natalie, that sometimes you have to leave your hobby as a hobby. If something just really brings you joy, you have to be careful into converting it to a business. You may need to leave it a hobby, or you may need to have it as a part-time type of business where you're just doing things part-time, unless demand requires you to make another type of decision, right? Because sometimes, if you really enjoy doing something like sewing or, just whatever you're creating, sometimes when you get into the business aspect and you learn that now you're a business owner, and you learn you have to get out there and sell yourself. You have to be giving pitches and proposals and going for VC funding and venture capitalist funding and all those things. It takes the joy out of what you really love, right? So sometimes I
Absolutely.
tell people, if you're looking to start a business, maybe start something with something you don't love that much. I mean, that you like it, right? You can see yourself doing it and you can follow the regimen of it. But
Yep.
be careful, when you're turning your joy and something that you love into a business. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And a lot of I'm a motivational speaker, so I that's the bulk of my business, and I do one-on-one coaching as well. And a lot of people in the speaking industry, they have a great story, but it's not because you were stuck in an elevator one day that you have a speaking business. You just have a speech. That's not a business. So it's not because you know how to sew that you have a business. So you want to also want to be an entrepreneur, and it's always very wise. And it's interesting because I've done a lot of I record these tips of the day on social media, and I had a tip of the day that was called "Don't quit your full-time job," because
Our
because
first sales tip of the evening, people.
because it's good to have that passion and that dream and say build it and they will come. Well, there's strategic ways to do things. There's the smart way to go about it. And yes, building your business on the side is a good idea to
Yes.
start small and to see if it can become a viable business, and eventually it could take over your full-time business, and you could maybe quit your full-time job and do it full-time if you like it. But a lot of people realize that being an entrepreneur is different than being a seamstress, for example, if I keep your example.
Yeah. And and I know we have another question that we're going to hop into, but I told you this thing just flows once we're talking, right?
Yeah.
So, I think also sometimes with entrepreneurs, this is why sales network and it's all about sales. And I think a lot of people don't realize that entrepreneurship is sales, and you're having to sell your brand, you're having to sell yourself, you're having to sell trust, right? You're having to get people to trust you and your brand and what your offer is in order to buy from you. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle in that area. I know as a business coach, I've coached a lot of small business owners on sales and how to, hire a sales team and coach a sales team and sort of inspect what they expect. So, it, almost tickles me when people say, well, I don't like sales. I'm tired of sales. So I'm going to quit my job and go into real estate. It's like, really? That sells, right? Or I'm going to quit my job and, and I'm going to become a loan officer or, or just whatever it is. And, those are all sales jobs. The young people that you see at Enterprise, Rental Car, I've said this before, when you go to the airport, they're selling. They're always going to upsell you if you think about it. They're going to take you to your car and they're going to try to sell you insurance, gas, though, at least those two, and probably a couple other things before they let you get in the car, right? And so they
Yeah.
say their jobs say customer service, but they're really sales. And I think if people really understood that, they would enjoy selling more. So since this is why sales network, we needed to get into that. But one thing, Natalie, that you and I talked about when we had a conversation is that 2020, wow. And especially for women, right? I read an article just today about how a lot of women had to quit their jobs and make sacrifices too, because they were the ones that were having to go home and be the caretakers for the elderly parents or the children, homeschooling and things. And, and then so many people was laid off. I mean, when I go to my dry cleaners, they've hardly accepted any clothes, right? When you go places, when you think about going to arenas, like we were just talking about, meeting in Seattle for a football game, how many people it takes to really pull off a successful football game that are not working right now. And so people are finding themselves, what we said the other day, stuck, right?
Yeah.
And my question to you was the mindset, thinker, how do people just get themselves unstuck so they can really just move forward with a blast in 2021?
I think that the very first premise to this is to understand that we were built for this, that
Yes.
that inside we have everything we need inside. We were made for this. Especially with everything that happened in 2020, whatever is happening right now already in 2021, because there's quite a bit that has already happened in
Yes.
2021.
Like, so what else could happen, really?
So I think we're ready. I have to say, I have this um of course I'm a positive person and I have this positive outlook. And I do believe that the human race has changed in 2020, that we are different, that we came back to with different confinements and different times where business would close, where we could not be with our family at Thanksgiving and at Christmas this year. We had to do it on Zoom. We could not get together as in big groups. There's a lot of even to this day in Canada, lots of provinces that are under curfew. So there's lots of restrictions, and I think we have now became a nation and a world, because it is worldwide, where we are back to what's really important, to the main values, to our friends, to the maybe we're not consuming as much. Maybe we don't need the 17 pair of shoes anymore because we're always at home and
And
barefoot.
I I've seen so many pairs of shoes on sale, and I'm like, why would I buy them? It's like, why? It's like you don't have anywhere to wear them. Like, well, maybe I can just wear them next year. But and to your point about one other thing too, I talked to recently had an opportunity to speak with a vice president of an organization, and he was saying how this was the first year that he's really spent so much time with his family and how much it meant to him to be around his kids and his wife for that amount of time. And normally when they go and do all the holidays and decorate the house and things, he's on the road traveling, but he was there this year.
That's brilliant. I think that uh, we came back to find our real strengths and what is inside us. I like to give the analogy of a drawer where we have everything that we need inside this drawer, all the answers. We have a brain. We have the most complex structure in the universe inside our head that can do a lot. So the problem is inside this drawer, there's a lot of crap that's accumulated. And sometimes you open the drawer and all you can see is the stress of the day. So you answer with the stress that's on top and that fear of selling or the unknown, because there's a lot of unknown now. So there's a lot of things that will be different in 2021, and we need to first start by understanding what happens in our brain. So how do people get unstuck? The first thing to know is that these powerful emotion, which is mainly fear, maybe sadness, maybe I don't know, maybe anger, also with some of the
All of
tragic
them.
events
I
that
experienced
happened,
all of them in
hurt.
2020.
um,
Yes.
there's been so many different events. So what happens is that one thing goes on top of the other, and the prefrontal cortex becomes in what we call the prefrontal cortex overload. So all of a sudden there's way too much. So when an emotion happens in our mind, the emotion should last between 30 and 90 seconds, and then we should exit the loop. And you've seen that in children, like children, like they're
Oh
super
yeah, they're
happy,
over
and
it.
then they're super sad and they're crying and temper tantrum, and then oops, 90 seconds later they're happy again, because an emotion doesn't last that long, because the unconscious mind comes to the rescue and says, don't worry, Joyce, I'll just take this and put it over here, and it moves away from the prefrontal cortex. Now what to know is that in the prefrontal cortex all emotions are created equally. The brain does not know the difference between anxiety and excitement. So if you choose that it's anxiety, your brain will send you 1,400 chemicals to pollute you, to slow you down, like cortisol, and you've probably heard of these. If you decide that it's excitement, you'll receive a total different kind of chemicals through your bloodstream, which are feel good chemicals like dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, serotonin, depending if you're with other people, if you're witnessing a good act of somebody or whatever. There's lots of different
Right.
chemicals that will go depending on the situation, but they will be feel good chemicals if you decide that it's excitement. So what you need to understand is that all these emotions, they are not there to bother you. They are your allies. Powerful emotions are like delivery trucks. And all there was is, when you receive a delivery, the truck comes in your driveway and it waits there, it idles while the guy comes out with the package, knocks at your door, you open the door, you get the package, and the truck leaves. The problem is we did not open the door, and very often we're too busy. So then we are afraid, we don't we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't open the door for the package because we don't have time, because we're in front of clients. So we keep the smile and say everything is fine. No, it's good. And then you go home and then your daughter is there and, are you okay, mommy? Oh yes, mommy's fine. Everything is good. So we don't open the door for the package. So the truck stays in the driveway. And that's the problem. The emotion stays in the prefrontal cortex and it doesn't move away. We are going through the loop over and over and over. And then another truck comes in the driveway, and another truck and another one. And there was a lot of trucks in our driveway this year. So what happens is after a while, you can't even go around anymore and you're stuck. So the key is to figure out what's in the package, what's in the parcel. So what are you supposed to
What are you
be
stuck
receiving?
on?
And it's a gift. It's always a positive learning. So what are you learning? What are you going to get better at? So in April, when when everything started to get canceled, well, it was actually March 17. I remember because I lost over 150 grand on that day of speaking
All
contract.
in one day.
I
Very interesting.
remember because
Yes.
everything gets canceled one after the other, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, okay. So you go into prefrontal cortex overload, and then you have to figure out, okay, what will I get better at? And now a year later, I know that I'm much better at presenting virtually. I know that I've learned how to um, leverage my business to online, and how I can have more online courses. I have so many more online courses this year. I have a lot more. So there's a lot of positive learnings that we get from any situation. So figure out what's in the package, because as soon as you receive the package and say, okay, what will I learn from this? What this is only designed to make me grow. It's not a bad emotion. There's no bad or good emotion. They're just emotions, and they're all allies, and they're designed to make us grow and to get us unstuck. So understanding that is really, really important.
So we have to understand that. So what you're saying is we have to understand all the things that we learned from, COVID, right?
Yeah.
We learned how to be better, virtual presenters.
Yeah.
Everyone's on Zoom now, right?
Yeah. We figured it
Yeah.
out. And
Every,
we're yeah.
yeah. We've learned how to, for some people that have kids and things, you've learned how to juggle a lot more, right? I don't think unless you're homeschooling and not working full time, I don't think many parents are working full time and homeschooling, but and it's that old saying that we say down here in the South that, God won't give you more than what you can bear, it's biblical.
Yes.
And so you won't get more than what you can bear. And I think that is probably a lesson that we all learned from 2020,
Oh,
that
100%.
right, that yes, it was a lot, but I use the word shift a lot, right? So we were able to shift. And when I'm having one of those emotional downturns, I have to talk to myself and say shift, and tell myself to shift my train of thought, shift what I'm thinking about, shift to the positive, and
Yeah.
and shift to what my expectations are. So I think what we really learned was that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. We're all, pretty much still standing. And, I know there's a lot of, families that are struggling and things like that, but they're still together and they're still
Yeah.
finding resources, and they still have one another, and they still have one another's love, because a lot of people have lost entire families.
Absolutely. And honestly, even the tragic incidents that did happen in 2020, because some some couples that were not getting along to start with got stuck together, and had to be confined with somebody they didn't like
Right.
in first place. So maybe it was a great time for them to realize that, hey, you know what? I'm in the wrong relationship. This needs to end. This is not
Or,
this is not working.
yeah,
Or
or realize I really
let's
like
learn
this
to work
person. They're
on this.
cool people.
Let's work it well, let's work things out. We have time now because we're always together, and we have to do is play cards together every night because there's nothing else to do. So so there's always a silver lining. And I like when you said, I talk to my mind, and I tell my mind to shift. So I very
Yes.
often give the analogy of having a personal assistant in your head, because there's always that little personal assistant that's sitting there, that's
Yeah.
taking notes to everything that you say or think, right? So the problem is, people get up in the morning, they look at themselves in the mirror, and they go, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm broke. I think I'm gaining weight. So then the personal assistant writes it down, right? Tired, broke, gaining weight, got this. Okay, tired. What can I do for this? Oh, I know. I'm going to keep her awake all night thinking about all nonsense stuff. So she's not going to be able to sleep. She's going to be really tired in the morning. Check.
Yes.
Broke. What can I do? I can certainly find something to buy on Amazon today, even if she can't afford it. Perfect. Check. Gaining weight. Oh, this is an easy one. I will find a chocolate bar, something deep fried, or something, to make her gain weight. Got this. Check. So
Right.
your personal assistant is always in your head, listening to everything that you say or think. So it's very important to tell your personal assistant what you want, not what you don't want. Just like
Right.
when just like when we tell ourselves, and as a society, there's this big thing about sales. Sales is a bad word, right? Selling is bad. Salespeople are bad. And there's this limiting belief that we kept telling our personal assistant over and over and over, I'm so bad at selling. I'm good
Right.
at what I do, but I would rather not sell because selling is being pushy. So personal assistant writes it down so that it makes you feel pushy every single time. But we're not selling. We're serving. We're helping people. You have a solution to a problem. So who are you to deprive all these people that need your service or need your product because because you told your personal assistant that selling was not fun and selling was bad? Because selling is everywhere, like you said. Like whether you're a mom trying to sell vegetables to your kids, whether you have a friend and you want to see that movie instead of that one, or whether
Right.
you have sales rep on your business card, you are selling. It's
You are
everywhere all
selling.
the time.
All the time. And it's funny you mentioned that. I'm like, get out of my head, Natalie, because I had the opportunity to participate in I guess an online webinar type event on Sunday called, the title was, What Does the Bible Say About Business? And
Ah,
when I had an opportunity to speak to them about sales, because someone on there said they didn't like sales, I was like, what are you talking about? But anyway, said they didn't like sales. And I'm like, sales is serving people. You're building a relationship of trust with individuals, and you're understanding what their needs are, and you're providing them a service or product. You're servicing them, you're providing them what they need. And if you look at sales as a service, but you do have to ask for the business and close the deal, which would be the difference. But any great salesperson like myself understand that
of course you are.
understand that it's more about the customer than anything, and it's more about their business and what their business needs are. And so you are providing them a service, when you provide that solution. So I just said that. It just, when you said that is serving, I'm like, I just said that.
That's
We
awesome.
are
We're
so
so
aligned.
on the same, exactly on the same
Yes.
page. Absolutely. Because if you cannot swim, then just don't go to the beach. If you cannot bike, and you're not good you've never learned how to be on a bicycle, then you just walk places or you drive there if you can't bike. But if you can't sell, you can't really avoid it. Like it's everywhere. You're always constantly selling your idea, or you're selling all the time, and it's such a beautiful thing. Selling is listening to the other person to figure out what it is that they need. And I have to be honest, in March 17, everything happened. Then I spent a couple days to feel sorry for myself, right? And then I went into action mode and I said, okay, what do I do? And my first thought, of course, was, how do I make money? And honestly, it didn't work very well for me, the how do I make money, because I was out of ideas. It didn't come very naturally for me to figure out how do I make money. And then I made a shift about a day later, and I turned the how do I make money in how can I serve?
Can I
What
serve?
what is my audience needing right now? What did they need me to be there for? And that's when I started to record the tips of the day. And a lot of my friends were telling me, great salespeople were telling me, Natalie, you're giving your intellectual property online on social media, and you're giving them all these
No.
60 seconds capsules and tips, and you should not give this away. And honestly, my bank account has never been so flourishing in 2020 because I was serving. I got into serving mode. What are people needing right now? And I started created courses that people needed. And I asked my audience, what do you need? And everybody needed to move their business to online. So I created Think Yourself a Tech Pro. And there's 3 different courses now on how to move your business online, how to build your own website. Think Yourself a Business Pro, how to transform social media fans into paying clients. So I created all these courses because I listen to what do they need? How can I serve? What can I do to help people? What do they need right now? And it's when you go to that purpose level and to beyond myself, beyond what do I need, what do they need, and how can I be the solution to that? That's when selling becomes so fulfilling because you're really helping people, really helping
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a former customer leave me a note. Well, he left me a voicemail. Actually, he had my number. He left me a voicemail just saying happy holidays, that he was thinking about me and wishing me well and things of that nature. When you build those relationships with people and you're there for them in their business life, because their business life is how they provide for their families, they really appreciate it, and you're able to build, lasting relationships. And that's what it's about. How can you serve others? That's what this platform is, Y Sales Network. When things happened in March, I could have, crawled in my bed and put the pillow over my head and shut it down and said, oh, we're not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
Right. But, you just have to put your big girl pants on, and I had to say, we are serving people. People are going to need this right now. They're going to need to stay focused, and they're going to need something to help them stay focused and redirect their thought and what they're thinking. And so that's what we offered with the webinars and the sales tips and the Meet the Recruiter, and people actually been able to find work from participating in Y Sales Network program. So when you think about that, we have been servicing people, and now that companies are coming back some, and I'm able to have these conversations. People are saying, "What do you need?"
Yeah.
You know?
I would like you to expand more on um, because the YSL network and yourself personally, you have tremendously helped the sales industry in 2020 with everything that the Y Sales network continued to do. Can you? I loved how
Thank you.
you were mentioning the sales profession can now close the gap on unemployment. Talk to me a bit more about that. Can you elaborate on this? Because I thought it was really interesting.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite lines. I was sharing on one of my sales tips, or I think it's our anniversary thing, that when I went on to Indeed, one of the online job search engines, a week ago, there was 440,000 sales jobs. 440,000 sales jobs. And I say this to my college students
Wow.
mainly because the college students are graduating and companies are rescinding their job offers to them. Companies aren't hiring, so they're having to do entrepreneur things. And before, where they could maybe close their gap by, driving Uber or what have you, now they can't. Maybe Uber Eats, because I order them quite a bit. And so,
Uber Eats.
but right, but so the wonderful, wonderful thing about sales and a sales profession is no matter what your course of study was, whether you were a communications major, business major, med student, philosophy student, engineering student, you can take whatever your transferable skills are in education training and go into a sales job.
I love that.
Right? And for as
Yes.
hard as you work, you're going to earn good money. And if you're a political science student, you get so many different companies have vertical markets where they sell into the public sector. You speak that language because you just learned all about the public sector and about the government's system and how it operates. So now you can go work in that segment. If you were a nursing student or a biology student, what have you, and you don't want to do that, now you can go sell. Look at all the pharmaceutical companies right now. Oh, my friends in pharmaceutical now, they're so excited. They've made so much money. Everyone else may have been dropping off and not them. But, you can go sell pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, medical equipment. You know, there's just so much that you can sell, even if you were a law student. So that's what I mean by sales. The sales profession can close the gap
I love
and
it.
help close that gap with unemployment, because those students now, and anyone really, but I talk a lot to students and younger people, recent grads. They can go and take those transferable skills and go into a sales job, and within a year earn enough money to help pay their student loans, have their own place and provide a good life for themselves.
Absolutely. All they need to do is get rid of the limiting belief that selling is bad or that they're not good at selling. Because it would be like telling somebody, oh, I'm not good at saying how are you, or I'm not good at being with my friends. Because when you are with somebody, you are selling, you are doing communication, listening to what
Right.
they say, and responding back. Like selling is having the piece of the puzzle that's missing, that you bring to the other person. It's really, I think that it has a lot to do, it goes hand in hand with the limiting belief about money, that making money is hard, that when you make more money, you spend more. So you always live paycheck to paycheck, or that, all these limiting belief about money that people have.
Right. That's
Um,
a whole nother webinar, but yes.
that's a whole other webinar. So I think that it goes together with all these limiting beliefs. So what I could
Absolutely.
offer is, I could offer a two-step technique. So whenever you hear yourself say something to your personal assistant, and you're like, no, 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 don't put that on the list. I don't want you to do that. Because if you tell your personal assistant what you don't want, because my clients do this all the time, they say, oh, I don't want to be stressed anymore, I don't want to be impatient with my kids, and I don't want to be broke. So personal
And I
assistant
tell
writes
people,
down.
don't put that in your universe. Don't even use the word broke. Don't put. You have to be careful
Mm,
what you put in your universe, into the
yeah,
universe, right? So as they said,
yeah,
it'll come back to you. So you have to be very
yeah,
careful. And I mean, we're
yeah.
all guilty of it, but we have to be very careful about what words we put out there.
Absolutely. Because then if you say that, your personal assistant writes down stressed, impatient, and broke. You're like, if you close your eyes just for a second. So at home as
Oh,
well, if you're watching this, close your eyes
closing
for a
my eyes.
second. And now do not visualize Mickey Mouse wearing a yellow tuxedo standing on top of a pink Mercedes Benz. Do not visualize Mickey Mouse wearing a yellow tuxedo standing on top of a pink Mercedes Benz. And now you can reopen your eyes. Beautiful makeup, by the way. I'm glad I asked you to close your eyes. You're beautiful. So, did you see it? Of course you did.
You were going too fast.
Because
I
I
did see
said,
Mickey Mouse on the car, and then I was saying they're trying to make it a Mercedes, but then you skipped over. Yes, yes, because
because
when you
the
say
thing,
it, you get it.
because you have to, your brain has to process the whole information before it can negate it. And before you go to the, now I'm trying to do not visualize it, and to negate it, it's too late. Like you already see Mickey Mouse on a car, and it's
Yes.
so. So at the end of the day, if you tell your personal assistant what you don't want, your personal assistant is not, it's like telling your contractor that's going to paint your kitchen, can you paint my kitchen not blue? Huh? Well, what color do you want? So that's what we do all
Just
the
don't
time
want
with,
it
in our
blue.
head.
Yes.
We say what we don't want. So we need to start changing the way we talk to the personal assistant, so the personal assistant writes down exactly what we want. So here's what you do. Let's say you hear yourself say, oh, I'm so bad at sales. Okay. First step is to put it in the past. So you repeat it for your personal assistant and say, wait, don't write that down. This is not what I wanted to say. Wait, 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 wait. I used to be bad with sales. So you repeat it in the past. So step number one, I used to be bad with sales. So then your personal
Right.
assistant listens to you, because see, you can't just negate it completely. And if you hear yourself say, I'm bad with sales, you say, oh no, I'm good with sales, because this is not the way it works. Like when I work with my Think Yourself Thin
And not,
program with clients that are highly overweight, it's not going to work to make them stand in front of the mirror and say, I
yeah.
am thin. This is not how it works. You can't just contract, do the contrary. This is not how it works. So you have to say, I used to I used to think that I was bad with sale. Or you hear yourself say, oh, I'm so stressed out. Oh, wait, wait. I used to be stressed out. So that's the first step. So the personal assistant's like, yeah, that's true. You're talking to me. That's correct. We're not just watching a vampire movie right now. This is connected. It's something that could be happening in our head. So, but
Yeah.
why are we talking about this in the past? Am I writing this down or not? Like, what's happening here? So then immediately you follow with the second step, which is a progressive statement. A progressive statement starts with, I am willing to learn, or I'm in the process of. So step number one, I used to think that I was bad with sales. Now I'm in the process of learning key
Learning.
techniques. Now I'm willing to learn from Joyce how to do this. Now I'm in the process of reading one of Joyce's book on sales, and I'm getting good at this. or I'm in the process of watching all the webinars on the Y Sales Network and I'm getting more comfortable with this. So use the two-step technique, because that's how we reprogram our mindset in order to stay away from all these
Yeah.
negative things that will continue to add on and add on to our mindset, right?
Yes, and those are two really good notes. And I know you have some tips. We're going to leave a link in the chat for you guys to go and download Natalie's two tips so that you can go a little bit in depth with them. I'm always taking notes, so but and let's talk about that too, because the subject for tonight is 2021, a new sales era, right? And that is also our topic for the conference this year, our sales conference. You guys, last year we had a sales conference. We were going to the Bahamas, and then we had to shift and have it virtually online. So this year we're going to we're going to just go virtual, right? We're going to plan for a virtual event, and it's already open for tickets. You can go register now. Early registration is $50. So go ahead and get registered early for the sales conference. And again, it's 2021, the new sales era. So I just want to hit on a little bit on why we're calling it the new sales era, right? And
Yes.
I'll let and I'll let you chime in. I want to hear your thoughts on it. But from my perspective, things are changing. We are working from home more, and a lot of companies are not going to go back to that in office. They're going to abandon that real estate. If you go downtown in your city and you're looking at buildings, downtown is quiet, and we don't want to lose downtown Houston. We really don't. We hope they come back. Oil and gas people probably will, but with that said, there is going people keeps, and the reason I said the new sales era is people keep saying when we get back to normal, when we get back to normal, when we get back to normal, there will be a new normal. Okay. And so this sales conference that we are putting together is all about teaching you how to respond and to thrive in the new normal, because this is a new sales era, 2021. And it's time for us to, as Natalie said, and I said, take a shift in our mindset, dust ourselves off, and move forward with the sales process. So Natalie, why do you think it's going to be new and a new norm? What do you think maybe is going to be different about it?
I believe that we we need to understand that, just like when you go to the restaurant and you always order the same thing at this restaurant because it's your favorite dish and you love it.
I do that.
If you I do that too. I like, there's this place where I ordered the pumpkin ravioli and they're so amazing and blah blah. But you know what?
Yeah.
The pumpkin ravioli might not be available on the menu anymore.
May not be
And
available.
and that's what we need to understand, is that your favorite dish is may not be available anymore. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to have to start reading the description of other dishes, and you're going to
Yeah.
have to pick something else. And when you taste it for the first time, you might go, "Whoa, where was this all my life? I love this." You
Yes.
might find your next best thing. How do you know
You
that
may
it's not
find your next
awesome?
best thing.
What's your next favorite dish? Because there's a lot of amazing stuff out there that maybe it's not been created yet. Maybe you are creating it, and you will figure out what is it that's going to be your next favorite dish. So I think the new sales era is that you will make it your own. I don't think people will go back to fully in person or stay
Mhm.
fully virtual. There will be a hybrid. So now we have options. Now you have choices. Now
Yeah.
you can have so many different ways of doing things. And especially if you were already doing sales, you have a head start on everybody else, because now a lot of people are scrambling to reinvent themselves and now need to learn how to sell themselves.
Right. And
Maybe
they can go
maybe
download my ebook off of the page. I am Joyce Johnson, on how to reinvent yourself. Because if there's ever a time, I thought last year was the time to reinvent yourself. This year is really the time. We're gonna have to put that back out there again. People to go download. Matter of fact, if they go and sign up for the Oval, our free membership program, they get a free download of how to reinvent yourself.
And Joyce,
Yes.
you were ahead of the game because you've written
Yeah.
that a few years back, right? So you already you were already a pioneer, thinking of ahead and understanding that yes, we need to always reinvent ourselves. Definitely,
And
that's
and a lot
amazing.
of people looking for new jobs. So I have top sales tips, top interviewing tips actually. They get the 2 downloads when they go and join the Oval. So go onto our website at ysalesnetwork.com, join the Oval, and get both of those downloads: how to reinvent yourself and the top 5 interviewing tips. So it is definitely a new sales era. Everyone's going to have to embrace something new. We should be pretty good at it right now. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, we've had to embrace so many new and different things in 2020
Oh
that
yes.
2021 should be a breeze.
Right? You would think what we need to continue to repeat to ourselves in our mind is that I am good at learning. Because for a
Good
lot
at
of
learning.
people, they needed to become good at technology. And it's one thing that a lot of people keep repeating. How many times did I hear, I'm so bad with technology?
I'm
Well,
guilty.
the thing is, you have one of those. You have a dopamine spiking device like this, and you probably went from a rotary phone to a flip phone to a BlackBerry to a
I
phone that
did.
had no screen, and all of a sudden there was no more keyboard, and we
I
figured it
know,
out.
right?
And they
We're
keep
telling
pushing
our age
updates,
now. We're telling our
right?
ages now, but it really happened. We did.
We did, and we figured it out. And then
And we
they
figured
do
it out.
updates. They do updates on our phone all the time. Sometimes you don't have to click update and they push it on you. So you one day you get up and then you're looking at your pictures and you can't find the pictures of your dog anymore and you're panicking. But guess what? You figure it out because you're good at learning. Technology is not like riding a bike. If you ride a bike, once you know, you know. But
Right.
technology is always changing. So we need to
Always
understand
moving.
that technology will be different because that's what technology is. So you need to start telling yourself, I am becoming really good at learning. And I've learned this before. I can learn something else because you
I am
have.
becoming really good at learning because I've learned this. I remember the first time I got an iPhone, I felt so overwhelmed. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this.
I
I
know.
really
And with
did.
the nails too, right? And you're like, how
I
am
was
I
like, this
supposed
is not going to work.
I know, and we figured it out. So if we can, there's a lot of stuff that we figured out, and
Yes.
gosh, we have a brain. We're so amazing. The brain can process an average of 2.3 million pieces of information every second. 2.3 million pieces of information every second. It's huge. We can do a lot with that brain, and that that should not keep you like not knowing where to click, which button to click on Zoom should not keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. If you want to sell your services and you want to put yourself out there for the world and you want to be that solution and serve and make sure that everybody can get um, your help and your services and make a living from your passion, that intellectual property that you've learned, everything that you're brilliant at, that was hard. That was not easy. These
Right.
20 years of becoming who you are and all your intellectual property, that was hard. Knowing where to click on Zoom, that's easy. You can figure that out. That's no problem, right? So let's understand that we are much smarter than we think we are, and let's stop saying I am bad with technology because at the end of the day,
Okay, I'll stop.
yeah, we have to understand that. Man, you are so smart. You like
I
I
want it,
listen to
but
Joyce
I
and
want the technology, but I want it fast. I don't want to have to. If I want to create a flyer, I want to create it just really fast on an app and be done with it. I don't want to have
yeah,
to, you know, go through any major steps for it. If it takes, you know, 10, if it takes 15 minutes, I'm not interested almost. So
yes, and
that's just the
there's
truth. But I am a great learner and I will learn this, Natalie. Thank you.
yes, you're great at learning. It just cannot keep you back. It cannot hold you back from doing everything you want to do. There's
Yeah,
also um, there's also the beauty of finding other people to do things we don't want to do, but everything you want to do yourself, should not be held back because of technology. If there's something that you're like, oh, I don't want to create a flyer, I don't need to learn how to do that. Well, give this to somebody, create some employments. That's awesome. And somebody
Right.
else loves to do that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the technology that you must be using in order to give conferences. You're a speaker just like me. And what if you would say, oh no, I can't take this speaking engagement, no, because I don't know how to use Zoom. Well, just learn it. You know what I
Just
mean?
learn
Like,
it.
just
Yes.
learn it.
It's
Like, don't
easier
let
than it looks to people.
technology. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
exactly. It's everything is learnable. We can be, and we are, and I'm sure we are a lot more comfortable with Zoom now than we were 6 months ago
Oh,
already.
we all
Already.
are. I mean, my 7-year-old niece is. I mean, she's like, yeah, we had to go into breakout rooms and different. I'm like, okay, you know,
Yes,
everyone is, and senior
yes.
citizens, everyone, and it's a wonderful thing. But thank you so much, Natalie, for co-hosting with me today, and for the branding. I love it. You had your Y Sales Network branding.
Or
I that's awesome because normally Monica make up these slides, backdrops, and give them to speakers, and they won't use them. So I think we just stopped sending them out. But you made your own, and I love that. And I just
of
want to
course.
say again, thank you guys. This has been Y Sales Network, our webinar, monthly webinar version of the year. 2021, the new sales era. It's the title of our sales conference. Natalie, who you just heard from here, she is going to kick off the conference with what we're calling a heart note. We're not going to start it with a keynote. We're going to have a heart note. So it is already available for sale on our Y Sales Network platform. Go ahead and get registered early. The conference is June 24th. But you need to get registered early because the price will change as time goes. So get your early ticket for Y Sales Network annual conference. We had an amazing time last year. We are planning a great time this year. We're going to have a panel of women in tech to talk about technology and how it's opening up for women and the jobs and things that women can go for and basically take over the tech space. I'm going to say take over it, the tech space. And so we're going to have that. We're going to have other speakers there, CEOs, a CEO of one of the newer dog companies going to be out there. And we're just going to have a great audience for you, great learning experience, as Natalie says, a great learning experience for you guys. So go over to Y Sales Network, get registered. And as I said, we, talk about often, go and join the Oval. It's our, free complimentary membership program that we have. We put a lot of sales tips out there. At the end of last year, we had a lot of sales tips on creating your sales plan for 2021. We didn't get to talk about sales planning on this call. So go to the Oval. If you ever miss a webinar or a sales tip or what have you, it will all be stored there under your membership. And then when you sign up, as I mentioned, you get 2 free downloads. You get how to reinvent yourself, which is, just important this year more so than it was last year when we first talked about it. And then top 5 sales tips to getting a job. So interviewing tips, I should say. And so you want to be able to take advantage of those things. We're here for you to provide valuable programs to be able to help you in your job search, in your job as you want to thrive, or if you want to change careers and you're looking to, understand your, as we say, make a shift and understand those transferable skills that you already have. To our audiences on LinkedIn, I think we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you for chiming in tonight. This has been our first webinar of the year. For those of you who follow me personally, I am super excited. There's 2 things happening. Tomorrow night, I will be presenting a co-author informational program about a co-authoring book that I'm putting together. So if you're interested in partnering your brand with my brand and the brand of many others, and you've always thought about wanting to become an author, many people said, Joyce, I wish I could write a book. I would like to be an author. So here's your opportunity to do so. Go over to my page at iamjoycejohnson.com. It gives you a lot of information about it, or you can join us tomorrow for the informational call. Now, Friday is really special. We need to put the link in there. We probably Monica's already put it in there, but Friday, we are kicking off launching my new book, No Back Doors for Me. So yes, Friday night, the virtual piece of that program starts at 7 p.m. We would love to see you guys. I've seen a lot of names sign up already. So if you guys would go out and support me, I'd appreciate it as I release my seventh book. And that book is No Back Doors for Me. It talks about my life in corporate and some of the things I experienced as a woman of color and only woman in the room. And giving you, that backstory and sharing that story with you, but also letting you know how I overcame some of those things and how you can overcome some of those things as well to be, successful. It was a very rewarding career, but not without challenges. And especially this time, I just want to let you know you're not alone. No one is. There's a lot of isms out there and biases, and we, sometime or another, we're all guilty of them. And I hope that you guys would join us on Friday and also order a copy of the book. Is available now for pre-order on the website. And then I think it's even up on Amazon already. Yeah, it's already on Amazon. We're going to say it's, Friday is the day, but you have to get it out there early to make sure it's there. So it's already on Amazon if you'd like to go to Amazon and grab a copy. But Natalie, thank you again. Monica, thank you on the back end. Monica's always back on the back end doing her thing. Everyone knows who she is. We have planned some exciting things for 2021. Stay tuned, stay involved. Oops, I forgot something. Our student cohort. Go to Y Sales Network and look at our student cohort. If you have college students that need mentoring and training, have them fill out the application that will be available on the 17th of January, as we will have a mentoring program this year for college students. And then I really think that's it. I am Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion, coach, and founder of Y Sales Network.